information so we can also give it to the participants once they get released. So it's not, so it's no type of misunderstandings as far as that is concerned. And like we were saying, just because the mentor may be in Allegheny West or Black Man's Think Tank, the mentor might not have the answer as in Andre would as far as financial is concerned, as far as small business entrepreneurship is concerned, as far as employment readiness is concerned. The mentors are there to maybe talk them through problems and things like that and get them to see things like that, but he's an expert in finance. So then if they have a financial question, we want our participants to be able to contact Andre, because he has the background in finances. He can say, you know what, don't go to that bank because that bank, this is what I would do. And he can give them the exact information. If they might have forgotten some of the stuff or whatever, he can refresh their memory.
So then that makes this more than what you're saying. What you're saying is if I'm a facilitator, I can't go in, teach 8 weeks and come out. I also got to commit to being a mentor.
Most definitely.
And it's not, it don't use the word mentor. It's a resource.
It's a resource.
Right.
It's a resource.
But that is a key element. That is a key element in that if I am not going to be a resource, then I become like that prison teacher. I become like that staff person.
Coming in making a button go on.
That makes sense.
So if we contract West for CBT and we say you provide the facilitator, then then he gives them the company standard and say if you're going to be a facilitator.
Well, they know this. They're not even going to prison. They understand this. Corrections is not. It's not a 9-to-5er. You just can't go in there, teach a class, and go home.
And be effective.
This brother here, when he goes in, he's not just teaching. He's building rapport. He's built trust with these individuals. He's getting certain things out. They may come to you after class and say, hey, I got this going on. How do I do this? Because he's built a relationship with them. So that doesn't end when the class is over. That's the beginning of it. So he's going to expect you to, you want people to contact you because they're moving forward and they're doing different things that he can assist.
Okay.
Now, I have been contacted.
Absolutely.
By not only the people that were in the class, but by their family members.
Exactly.
They called me at work, they're like, hey, I got the card from son-so, do you remember him? I'm like, yeah, I remember him. I got a question about this. And I'm like, okay.
So you saying it's develop some kind of facilitator standard?
You just need to understand that at the end of it, it doesn't end that now there is that potential where they will reach out to you.
Okay.
And if
That's
you're uncomfortable with that, we need to know that up front. So that way you don't get caught off guard like she did.
Ain't no doubt, exactly.
That's all we're trying to do is don't let them get caught off guard.
That comes in, and this is the facilitators right here. It's like,
Just so I
this
stay
is
on
okay.
track, because that's B. We talking about like any issues experienced. Are we okay with A?
Well, and we're almost done with A.
Okay.
I've got A right here.
But that's what I'm saying. There's a lot because there's no one who works in corrections to understand that people will contact you after the release. There's no way around that.
Oh, she didn't know that.
Yeah,
She
well,
was like-
yeah, and that was something that maybe wasn't explained for whatever reason.
And that's all right.
But you want people to contact you. It shows where they're moving forward, and you can help them. You can hold their hands in different processes.
Okay.
You just don't go in. It's not corporate, but you can't go in there and just teach a class at Vantage.
And just done, and then it'd be done. You know, I mean, you are literally like.
I've got calls in the middle of the night. I've got on my bed in the middle of the night. It just comes with the course. I don't do as much as I used to, but it happens. I mean, it's done.
You know,
Yeah.
And there's nobody, like I said, if you come in and talk about mortgage and how to get a mortgage, there's nobody else better to contact than somebody who's an expert in that field.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if I'm a mentor, I don't have those type of background. I don't have that background. So I can't give you exact information. I can't give you what he give you. And that's what's gonna separate us from other organizations and stuff like that with doing this type of work. It's like, we're gonna really have professionals that's going to be attached to them that they can lean on when they are out here and not just regular mentors. So that's what we're gonna do to make ourselves.
And everybody underneath my umbrella knows this. There's no doubt about it.
Good stuff.
Not even worth discussing.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
It's part of being a correction.
So back to your question, grant that is, in process. I'm waiting on Monday to get feedback back. But when all is said and done, we have changed the game. Lord has given us an opportunity. It starts within us, change the game. Okay? And when I say change the game, I mean in the course of this past year, the data from what has happened in your workshops and the stuff that you've turned into Ebony, we have taken that information, and there was a presentation made on our behalf at the American Association of Behavioral and Social Science, which means the data of how many people were in your class, how many finished, what the results of that was, how many went on to the next class, and at the end of the day, we ran a 50-week program, and that information was sent to Dr. William Eldridge in the University of Arizona, and he reviewed the artifacts from all of the classes, went through it, and he's a PhD psychotherapist, teaches, is Professor Emeritus at Ohio State, and is an adjunct at the University of Arizona. Basically, he crunched the numbers, he went through, and he gave a position paper, a 9-page position paper, that was then given to Gary Moore. And actually, Carlos has a copy of it. But it was a position paper on why what Starts Within did and is doing, why it works, and why having various experts in their field who are trained and certified by their field, and then coming into the prisons under the auspices of someone who understands being in prison, who understands release, understands that process. That's the position paper that was presented at the American Association of Behavioral and Social Science. Okay, so that's
huge.
Yeah, that's huge. But that's just the beginning. What happened from there is that position paper and what you guys are doing, that information now, you guys, all of us together, what we've done, that information now has been moved to social science in general. What I mean by that, Dr. Eldridge is moving this information forward. You know that Carlos went to South Carolina and North Carolina and all that kind of stuff. So all these things are beginning to come together, and the results that we are talking about are results that individuals' lives are being changed, and they see the facilitators at the end of this year, they see mentors who are helping them transition, the whole reentry piece. Now, Carlos and I have talked about this, and
over all the information that they have in general. So that when Andre and Andre will get this before he even start teaching. So he'll get this and he'll understand where his class is at before
You know
they
what?
start.
Let me tell you what I don't like about that.
I think you just need to do one test at the end.
I do too. And I also don't like the word test. I really don't. I like the word review. And you can go over something, but you can do a review as a facilitator with a group without having to test.
Okay.
You can have a board, you can write questions on the board, and you can get the answers from the audience without having to be a test. Test is too intimidating. It's just too intimidating to have that many tests. If you can do a pre and post, that's one thing, okay? But even during, if you want to see where they are academically, then just do a review. Every time you come in, just let's review what we learned last week. 5, 10, 15 minutes stay on it. And that way it's a little softer than that test. That test is too intimidating.
And Wes, another thing too that I want to bring up, I mean, we got to think also outside of also making sure that they are getting the information. This is something too that we present in front of investors and saying, look, these are the tests. This is data that we can collect and say, this is what they, this is what they are learning.
yeah, I got you. I understand that, and that makes sense. When it comes to the investors, and it comes to those folks, the bottom line is them getting an evaluation from an outside third party, they're gonna look at that more than they will look at us doing these little evaluations. When I say little evaluations, it's not that they're not important. It's they want to know at the end of the day.
ROI.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why even though I could do an evaluation myself, we shipped all the data for everybody out to Eldridge because he's in Arizona.
Let him do it.
And
He
let
does.
somebody else do it. So him saying that what we did worked.
And it's how it worked.
Yeah, and how it worked. Most folks aren't going to review this and even look at what we went through. And each one of the facilitators are already certified in their stuff, so that when the facilitator said and does a review at the end, that data, that carries all the weight of their certifications and titles. What you set this up as, and I understand it completely, what you set this up as if we were doing a class and they were getting credit for some type of degree or certification.
Yeah.
And what I've done, and you saw me in my class, I gave them a sheet that looked just like I have in my regular class at UC that had a syllabus, all that they covered, and then I signed it at the end and verified it, because there's no one who is going to go through and look at all those exams. They just want to know if
Class is effective.
it was the class effective, and am I willing to put my name and certification on the line saying that it's effective? Those are the pieces.
And that's what he's exactly right.
And so these are, I like the.
So we don't wanna do these?
I don't think we need to,
I would.
we can use them as a review sheet.
Right.
But what he's saying is 100% correct, in that when you're talking about having a test, you have fellas, and we've seen them, and we all see the same folks, but we've seen them when you say test, all of a sudden,
A panic.
they begin to panic, they freeze up, and I even, it's even in the small business entrepreneurship, I gave them verbal exams, but because I backed
Right.
away.
It's a little softer.
Because I backed away from the hard thing when I had to switch to my audience. I'm like, whoa, these folks are freezing up. The light-skinned guy over on the right-hand side was
It's a
doing
test.
that.
It's a
Yeah,
test.
he was like, really?
No test.
And I understand what you're saying, but okay, and I don't know, but even when kids go to school, they still have to take these like big exams. How do we gauge
Yes.
that
I
they're
appreciate
really getting the information outside of something that Dr.
You review it.
is?
You review it with them.
But that's
Go over with
still
them.
that's like verbal. There's
Yeah, I'm
nothing on
saying, but-
paper that
but
we
how
can
do
put
we
in
know-
their file to.
And
I
not only
got
that,
it.
I guess what I'm saying is this is like, with this stuff, and this is what I was seeing in the effectiveness of the test, because a lot of times they'll get it, and then they might not get the answers right, okay. They might not get the answers right, but then that brings it up to where we can discuss the answers, and then we'll discuss it, but at least it's a part of the learning process to where they tried it, and then they tried to get it right, and then they didn't get it right, so now we want to correct them, then it's more likely that they'll remember that information.
One of the things, Charles, I've learned in the last 3 or 4 months about corrections, redundance. These guys learn, you have to do it over and over and over and over and over again. That's the only way. That's why I didn't commit to one prison, because when I go in there for 15, 20, 25 weeks, whatever it is, I'm gonna be redundant. They're gonna be sick of hearing me say the same things, but that's how they learn. They know that Mr. West is gonna say more thinking errors. I mean, it's all about redundant. They gotta hear it. They don't think like you and I remember. They have delayed development, delayed thinking. That's why they're in trouble. So they don't think like you and I do. You've been out long enough to understand that process. Okay?
I mean, I understand.
Yeah, these guys, they learn differently than we do. So you can't go in there and do a session or class and then that's it. I like to go in there, do it, then come back next week and review it. Okay, what did we learn last week? And when they start spitting it out to me, then they got it. It's processing.
So is it safe to say that, boom, we'll review it, we'll go over the information, we'll review it, and then we'll say, now we want you to go ahead and answer the questions on
You can pick them individually,
on the test
you
or
can make
whatever.
it, a role play, you can make it fun, any kind of way you want to do it. But I wouldn't put this piece of paper in front of them and answer these questions. My question not. It's too intimidating, and they don't know if we get it wrong, what's going to happen. That's that fear.
Well, then that's our responsibility as.
Well, but if you minimize it, they ain't gonna put no heart into it.
And that's, but that's what I have to manage. Like, when these guys was taking the test, they took them and they was trying to, you remember, the one brother, the bald head.
Well, let me say this.
He was just like.
When I did this with I do it with